This weekend, we start the 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup North America season on the bumps at Sebring, where sports car racing started here in the United States. Time now to go racing with just on 32 cars here in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America at Sebring. Welcome along to all of you in sound and vision, whether you're here at Sebring or around the world. Good to have you with us. Peter Mackay and John Hindhaugh taking you through the opening rounds of Porsche Carrera Cup North America. We're here in Florida at Sebring, where it all began for Formula One in the United States, but sports cars has been the stock in trade. It's the 73rd running of this fantastic Formula One 12 hours. Sorry, I nearly doubled it there for everybody. Formula One 12 hours this weekend on a 3 3/4 mile circuit. And you always know there's history when you've got names as much as you have turn numbers. And when you've got things like Jean de Bienne, that, of course, is the last man to win Le Mans in 1962. With a front-engine car. Well, it's all rear-engine cars here this weekend. And what a fantastic grid of cars. We are down one car because of an incident this morning for the number 82 of Madeline Stewart in qualifying. Went off the circuit and unfortunately has done enough damage to damage the tub on that car. And that can't be fixed. GT3 Racing are very good, so that must have been quite a big incident. Porsche Carrera Cup starting grid for race one here at Sebring. Riley Dickinson back in the championship for Kelly Moss. Won the championship 2 years ago, took it to back the sabbatical last year, and he's back with a bang. Alongside him, Kiwi, New Zealander Ryan Yardley, he's been quick all weekend as well. Row 2, Nola Sports, Matthias Leist and Aaron Johnson for Kelly Moss Racing. Aaron's announced his arrival into this championship with a bit of style, class and speed. JDX's Zach Vanier in 5th position in the number 9 car from Top Racing's Tyler Max and Michael de Quesada, going well for Allegra Motorsports on the inside of row 4 with Jimmy Libre for ACI in 8th position. His teammate Grant Tolke in 9th position on the inside of row 5. On the outside, Jared Thomas of JTR Motorsport Engineering. He will be coming forward from there, I absolutely guarantee it. It's JDX in 11th position with Paul Bocuse and Yves Baltas for ACI. Makes it another ACI car. That's 3 ACIs in the top dozen. 13th position for Sabra Cook for JDX Racing. Good to see her back for the full season. Then the Pro-Am, Paul Sitter, JP Martinez, ACI Motorsports in 14th position. Ashley Freiberg's back in the IMSA paddock, and for a full season too for Kelly Moss Racing. The former winner here in Pilot Challenge with the Turner squad is in 15th position. Jean Jodouin in 16th, that's the 8th row of the grid. Row 9 is Alan Metney and Marco Cironi, Kelly Moss and ACI. Row 10, Wesley Slim, Kelly Moss and Ruckus Racing. Scott Blind is the Masters pole sitter. He's got Peter Atwater, second in the Masters class, 1 position behind him, so on the other side of the track. And then 2 GMG racing cars, Patrick Mulcahy and James Safronas in 22nd and 23rd position, I should say, with Rob Walker sharing that 12th row with James. Then Richard Edge for ACI, Nola.
in his first year in Porsche Carrera Cup North America as he come through Cunningham. Oh, a little bit wide there for Jared Thomas in the white and red JTR machine. Looks like the Tag McLaren, which was of course had a Porsche engine in it from the mid-80s.
So if you are just joining us, thank you for your patience. And at the front of the field, Riley Dickinson jumped away to a fantastic start. The battle was behind him, and what a run from Zach Vanier as he came through. Ryan Yardley fighting back in the early laps from the starting position of second position, and he's back there now, but he's had to fight his way back to that. It was Vanier in the white and orange car who made the best start from fifth up into second with an audacious manoeuvre. He really cut off Yardley, but Yardley's come back now down the inside.
Tyler Maxson.
That's Tyler Maxson coming through on Jared Thomas. That's the battle for 7th and 8th position as they cross the line. But there's a real battle on now for the lead. Oh,
Riley Dickinson is really being made to work for this by Ryan Yardley, who has come here with one objective and one objective only, to win this championship. Exactly the same objective, funnily enough, that Riley Dickinson has, but only one of them can get it. Is this a flavour of what we're going to see all year long in the 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup North America? Dickinson holding strong though in that Kelly Moss car. He knows the team so well. He's been so closely affiliated with that team, not just here in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, but in Michelin Pilot Challenge as well, and various other series too.
So before I was rudely interrupted by a period of silence, I was about to tell you there's three different classes, that the cars are the same. It's the drivers that determine, and it goes by age thereof. And at the front, the pro drivers are either young up-and-comers or drivers who are formulating a motorsport career. Pro-Am, it could be a bit of both of that. A little bit more life experience. Masters could be doing it for fun, maybe getting some experience before moving on to a GT3 car. Everybody having a good time. I love the variety, and that's what makes this series, for me, particularly here in the US, with these three classes. It's not unique, but it's quite unusual. ABS on these cars as well. Again, that was asked for by the teams and the drivers, particularly at the sharp end of the field. You would have thought the pros would have said, no, we don't want it, but they do. Oh, a little bit wide there by the Tyler Maxson car, and through goes Jared Thomas and retakes that position. That was at turn 15, where they go off the track before swooping right-handed into the Le Mans curve that's onto the Ullman straight, and a little bit too wide for Tyler Maxson. I think they got a 1X for that if he'd been on iRacing, to be honest. Through turn 17 then.
Riley Dickinson really dropping the hammer here. He went absolute best in sector 1 and 2, and he's done the best lap of the race, a 2:05.3, 0.4 of a second quicker than Ryan Yardley. That's very, very important. He opens up the gap to 0.6 of a second. So Riley Dickinson answering the question from Ryan Yardley, who's trying to put him under pressure as much as possible. Zachary Vanier sitting in third there. Matthias Luis, the former IndyCar driver, in fourth. And Jimmy Lieber, good run up the field from Jimmy Lieber to fifth. A little bit of a steady start away for Aaron Johnson, who started on the second row. He's back to sixth. So really, really tight in that top 10 in this pro class for the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. Jared Thomas in the 96 for JTR Motorsport Development, of course, the driver we know well from Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup.
Rotec Racing, Jaden Lander in the pit lane, and that looks like he may have had some kind of contact that's caused problems with his Yokohama Advan 005 left rear tyre. Oh, I think it was more than that. There might have been suspension damage. There was a rueful shake of the head and hands.
They've sent it back going again.
Have they?
So, yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah. So, unless he's driving it back to the paddock, of course, but we'll keep a watch on to see if Jaden Lander takes that Rotec Racing machine back again. Rotec Racing, a team that have got experience all over the world at the Nürburgring, at Pikes Peak, and in various GT series in North America. Very, very strong outfit, but they really wanted to be here, and team owner Rob Holland said, we've got to be here. This is a championship where we want to be. Number 11, Michael De Quesada for Allegra Motorsports goes past again on Jared Thomas. So there's a fantastic battle for 7th position at the moment, with plenty up behind as well in this battle. Fantastic stuff in this opening race of the season of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. Last lap by, it's a 2:05.398. In fact, Riley Dickinson crossed 2:05.327, goes 0.3 of a second quicker than Yardley, so the gap is approaching a second now. So Riley Dickinson just starting to turn the screw a little bit.
Good battle going on for second on down. The TCS yellow and gold, or gold and black car, is Ryan Yardley, man from New Zealand, whose avowed intent is to come and shake this up. Nothing other than the championship is what he's been quoted as saying. Behind him, Zach Vanier, JDX Racing. Look at the names up there in terms of the teams. Kelly Moss, Top Racing, JDX, Nola Sport, ACI Motorsport. All of those are very experienced teams, either in this form of racing or in other forms of racing. 7th position looking massive as well.
Allegra, former winners of the Rolex 24.
Exactly, and Michael De Quesada is in 7th at the moment. Jared Thomas, Tyler Maxon, Grant Toll, Yves Baltas, Paul Bacuse all want that position from him.
They do, they do. Michael De Quesada has been really impressive so far in the practice sessions, and to hold off someone of Jared Thomas's calibre, that says a lot. And the one thing that Jared Thomas will know is hand-to-hand combat. If you have been raised in the rough and tumble of Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup, well, you know how hand-to-hand combat works. Right behind him, he's got the 77 of Tyler Maxon, who's a debutant in this series, but came runner-up in the Mustang Challenge last year. They are battling hard over 8th position right now, are Jared Thomas and Tyler Maxon. Meanwhile, Michael De Quesada just escaping a little in 7th position as they come out of through Jean de Bienne and out of Le Mans Curve, but it's Riley Dickinson who leads away as they head down the Ullman Straight, going all the way along here. They just as they come into Sunset Bend, they'll reach 155 miles an hour, and Apex, that hugely bumpy Sunset Bend, still doing 75 miles an hour.
Tyler Maxon down the inside. This is the motorcycle style pass. Get alongside, get off the brakes, and then just ride the bumps on the inside. Nobody goes that close to the wall in normal conditions. He's going to have to stay driver's left here as he comes under the Mobile One bridge. He's defending for all he can. Jared Thomas cuts to the inside of turn 1 at the final moment. My goodness, that's close. That would have been a huge shunt if they'd touched, but they're both experienced drivers. Who is going to benefit from this? The answer is the car right behind, and that is the green and white machine, the number 15. My goodness me, that is very, very close. Indeed, and that is Yves Baltas for ACI, who took way more speed through turn 1 because he was on the racing line, and they weren't. They were battling. That's cracking stuff. What a pass by Tyler Maxon. He and Jared Thomas are at this hammer and tongs. No quarter asked or given, but absolutely fair and respectful. This is top class racing.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And Tyler Maxon desperately trying to make a break now, because he knows that Jared Thomas is going to try and nip straight back as early as possible. So he knows he's got to put in a couple of ace sectors here. Fastest lap of the race, not Riley Dickinson anymore. It's the second place driver, Ryan Yardley, 2:05.284. So looking strong there is the Kiwi. Actually, he's just put in his personal best in Sector 1 too, so trying desperately to put the heat on Riley Dickinson and keep him in tow. And well, you never know, of course, if we do, we can get an interruption from the safety car if necessary. We've seen it plenty of times before. These drivers have to know how to perform in that situation. So right now we're stay green, but it is something that they may have to contend with.
What we have to bring up here, Peter, is this is a 45-minute race. There's choices to be made here. I know this is a sprint race, but the cars with the heavy fuel load, with the fuel tank in the front of these Porsches, they are going to change the balance significantly between lap 1 and lap whatever it is at 45 plus minutes. And are you going to use up your Yokohama rubber in the early part of the race? Or are you going to try and set the car up to be there when the car gets lighter. Once again, side-by-side action, and once again, down into turn 1, it is Paul Bocuse, and he's right in there with Yves Baltas as he was having a look, and Jared Thomas is defending. That's a great piece of driving by Baltas, who's got past Jared Thomas, and it looked like Bocuse had got through as well. Yes, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't.
Jared's taken him back, and that means that right in there, this is brilliant. Every time I look at this, a change. So Paul Bocuse actually got past Jared Thomas for a moment. Jared Thomas got past him. Yves Baltas went past Jared Thomas, and then Grant Tolke's gone past Paul Bocuse. Are you taking notes?
And then Tolke's gone back again as well in the 70. And this is the battle over 9th. Meanwhile, Tyler Maxson's looking in his mirror going, yes, guys, you keep doing that and I'll escape off into the distance in 8th position and set my sights on Michael De Quesada ahead, who is, of course, from just down the road in Tampa Bay. So a home race here at Sebring International Raceway as that battle goes raging past Green Park. All the fans are here. The party has begun here at Sebring, and guess what? We've got another race tomorrow night. Yeah, it's going to be an absolute cracker as well. Make sure you put that in your calendar. Set it up on your phone as an alert. Now, we're not even at half distance, let's be honest. We're a lap and a bit away from half distance at the moment. Let's check in on the classes. JP Martinez started on pole position for the Pro-Am class. He's in 14th position overall. And he's got Ashley Freiberg between him and Alan Metney, who's in 2nd place. Alan's got John Chaudoin between him and Marco Cironi, who's in 3rd place. In Masters, 20th overall, Scott Blind leads the Masters class for Ruckus Racing in the number 45. He's got Patrick Mulcahy and James Sofranes between himself, 2 GMG racing cars, between himself and Richard Edge for ACI Motorsport. He's about a second ahead. Peter Atwater in 3rd, who's 3/4 of a second ahead of the Nola Sport driver Michael Oriema for the 4th place in Masters. 3 distinct races going on at the same time, and we will crown champions at the end of the season at the Circuit of the Americas when these cars are supporting the Formula 1 Grand Prix. 3 times this year they'll be on the Grand Prix schedule. Miami, then it's the Canadian Grand Prix, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and then at the end of the season, as I say, the hugely entertaining Circuit of the Americas. Say what you like about the Circuit of the Americas. I know people don't like it as a Formula 1 track, but I think it races so well for sports cars. Oh, and the braking zone into the hairpin at the end of the very, very long back straight is a great opportunity 12, for overtaking. 12, that's right. But of course, there's some drivers that will be competing in the Andile Cup, which is for all of the rounds which that don't go to those F1 races. And that makes sense to have the opportunity to not go that, because obviously F1's in town, everything's expensive, and while some drivers have told me that they're very excited about going to the Formula 1 races and they've been clubbing together to do hospitality, take some guests there, we understand, and Porsche Motorsport North America understands that that's not necessarily everybody's wish, and therefore there are 6 rounds that we can take out, and the other rounds are 6 races rather that you can take out. The other rounds form the Andile Cup. The whole championship, by the way, is still fought over every single round, but there is a special award for anybody who decides maybe not to take in some of those races. Riley Dickinson then from pole position leads from Ryan Yardley in 2nd. Zach Vanier's made up 2 places to 3rd. Least down a position to 4th. Jimmy Libera up 3 to 5th. Aaron Johnson will be disappointed to have dropped a couple of spots. Fastest lap of the race, Michael De Quesada, Allegra Motorsports in 7th position at 2:05.224. Now that is getting very quick in race trim, very quick indeed. A reminder, if anybody actually does go quicker in this race than their 2nd best time in qualifying, then that will be used to set their grid position for tomorrow. Yeah. I can't see that happening because qualifying was in pretty good conditions. No, that's only really going to apply to Michael McCann, who lost his qualifying times for working on the car during a red flag. And he's up to 18th. He's up to 18th position and 16th in Pro, so he's got a couple of pros behind him, but he's put
Well, he started in 31st position, so 14th position.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
amazing stuff.
Very impressive.
But also Michael de Quesada, car number 11, he's in 7th at the moment to have the fastest lap of the race, so lapping quicker. He was 3/10 quicker than Riley Dickinson last time by, who's actually in the process of dropping the hammer and just putting a 10th or 2 into Ryan Yardley. And you think, oh, that's nothing. Well, actually a 10th in the context of Porsche Carrera Cup North America is actually quite a lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
The margins are so small. All of the teams receive the car in exactly the same specification. They receive a GT Silver, Porsche 992 GT3 Cup. It's then up to the teams and the drivers to set them up in the best way and to particularly to get the best driving out of it. If you look at the top Super Cup drivers in the world, if you want to go and win the Mobil 1 Super Cup, normally you have to do Carrera Cup Germany or another Carrera Cup around the world as well, because you need the track time to be able to find the last 0.1% to be able to compete. So and that's the same in any Carrera Cup around the world. The fine details are so important, but a huge lap there from Riley Dickinson.
Massive.
2:05.2. He's just gone 4/10 quicker. That is a fortnight in this context.
Again, in motorcycling terms, we saw that break off, almost block pass down into 17 earlier on from Tyler Maxson, wasn't it, on Jared Thomas. Well, in motorcycling terms, Riley Dickinson's just pulled the pin, hasn't he? I expect now, and I've seen Riley do this before, he's still such a young man. He's been racing for such a long time. It's almost incredible that he's still, I think, just in his early 20s.
22.
Yeah, incredible. He's been racing for such a long time, and I've been talking about his racing for such a long time, 6 years, I would think. Such a quiet, considered man out of the car, an absolute beast in the car. And I've seen him do this. I've seen him just flick a switch. He goes into this mode, and you just see it with the body language of the car. He's just leaning on it a little bit more. Still smooth, not getting the back end out of line. All four wheels drifting, sliding, flat drifting. Oh, spin for the Nola Sport number 23 car, and that is going to drop that car down. Michael Oriema in Masters 4th position. Spun away at turn 7, and now he's got to wait for the field to come through. He was in very close company with Wes Slimp.
I think.
Did Wes Slimp get down the inside? Yes, he did. And that is going to be looked at by race control. He's got the Nola Sport yellow, grey and white car pointing in the right direction, but there's damage to the rear valance and possibly to the exhaust, and that's not good news. If you bend the exhaust on these cars, that's right next to the engine, of course, it really affects the back pressure, and that can rob you of some performance. And of course, with all the cars being exactly the same, 4-litre flat 6, normally aspirated, just over 500 horsepower, then you can't afford half a horsepower, never mind 2 or 3.
Riley Dickinson has just put in an amazing lap there, 2:05.1. The car who's trying to chase him, 2:05.7, Ryan Yardley. So Dickinson is really dropping the hammer now. He's gone absolute best in Sector 1 again. So he's loving that. And Sector 1 is basically turn 1. Doing an amazing job right now.
Where Slim's going to get a penalty, a drive-through for that incident responsibility. Again, we're not saying it's deliberate, neither race control, but avoidable contact and incident responsibility with the Nola Sport car. And Michael Oriema begins the drive back. He's actually already got past Wes Slimp, who will now have to go up the pit lane. But a lot of time lost there for Michael Oriema. He was in 4th in Masters. That's now Rob Walker. Oriema has dropped down to 7th position in that class. As here's the drive-through. Wes Slimp then in the pit lane, and not much damage, not much contact. And again, you know, he's come from a couple of car lengths back. He thinks he's there, he's not there. And down at turn 7, he wasn't far enough alongside. The Nola Sport car has to turn in at some point. And
oh, Wesley Slimp parking it.
Yeah, maybe he has got some damage then Is it left front steering arm damage? It might be.
And will that mean that he's actually served the drive-through? I guess it's not of a great deal of consequence.
No.
Really, the Kelly Moss team attending to that car with it up on
Can't do work and have a
stands.
drive-through, so...
No, I thought that was the case. So, the good thing is we stayed green flag racing. We didn't have to see the intervention of the Porsche 911 pace car. Looking at the sector times, Riley Dickinson quickest in sector 1 and 2 throughout this race, and quite a bit quicker than we saw Luke Hartog and Gus Burton go through sector 1 and 2 last year.
I think it was Johnny Knotts down there in the pit lane, our senior pit lane official for IMSA, who were talking to Wes Slim's team, the Kelly Moss team, and saying to them, I'd really rather you put that car behind the wall if you can. I think they were explaining there was some left front steering damage, but it's not that far to the cutout, and the car has now gone behind the wall. So, very good. Absolutely incredible driving in those early laps. Drivers having to adjust to the changing car balance with that fuel burning off, as we mentioned. They've got some tools that, I know that these are a relatively uncomplicated racing car, but they still have some tools at their disposal. ABS here is a Bosch system, and that has, you can tune that ABS and that will help you rotate the car in certain ways, in certain corners. What I don't know, and actually I should do, I'm trying to picture the cockpit now, whether there's a brake bias control on it. I think there is.
Pretty sure there is, yeah. Yeah.
So you'll also be able to just balance that weight as the fuel burns off at the front. It's just under a kilo for each litre of fuel. They'll burn plenty in this 45-minute race, which has a third still to go, Peter.
You're probably going to be burning a gallon every 2 or 3 laps, thereabouts. So yeah, you're there's several kilos per lap change. As here comes Paul Bocuse in the number 71 machine, just battling away with the number 16 of Grant Talke going into sunset, and Bocuse did get the move done, but then ran a little bit deep, and Talke's going to try and cut back in that GT Silver machine with the green stripe up the middle, but no, then it's the number 71 of Bocuse for 11th.
Naughty, Bocuse coming across in the middle of the road. He's got the inside line into turn 1. Now he'll go wide. It's the cut back again from Talke. He'll have the run into Christensen corner if he can tuck it out. No, he goes to the right. Now, Bocuse in that black and purple car's got to be careful. Can't be moving around in response to what the car behind is doing. Out of turn 5, under the drive over bridge. Now that one, I think, is done. Bocuse through, and with 2 or 3 cars lengths, I said that, could be a run down the inside into turn 7. And just hovering into view in the background, Ashley Freiberg in 13th position. Ahead now of Sabra Kook, and pulling away from the JDX Racing driver.
Big slide there from Paul Bocuse coming out of turn 7. As you asked for the power, the Porsche 911, the perfect car for coming out of turn 7. You got the weight of the engine over the rear wheels, gives great traction, but just braking traction there was Paul Bocuse. But amazing, he's only 17 years old. This is his Porsche Carrera Cup North America debut. Last season, 2 seasons ago, was his first season in a race car full stop, where he became the Porsche Sprint Challenge Cayman Pro-Am champion. He was the Type 992 Pro-Am runner-up last season in the Porsche Sprint Challenge. So really impressive young driver. Great to have him in the championship, and he's aiming to have a good rookie season and prepare for next year and try to win the championship next year. He's a man with real ambition.
Yeah, what were you doing at 17?
Trying and failing to become a golf professional.
Yeah, I was still trying to work out what gear set I needed on my 12-speed racer. Side push bike.
Not just least.
47, least going down the inside of Zach Vanier. That's the battle for third. And again, coming up behind, Jimmy Libra's right there. Libra's been really quick, had the fastest lap earlier on. That's now gone back to Riley Dickinson. Alan Metney's put the fastest Pro-Am lap in that last time around, and he's within half a second of JP Martinez now. So the Pro-Am battle is getting spicy. In Masters, Scott Blind is the fastest lap and still has a couple of cars, 2-3 cars between himself and Richard Edge, but second place is up for grabs at the minute. 3 drivers, make that 5 drivers, because behind Jimmy Libre, third place, excuse me, yes, Vanier, Libre, Aaron Johnson and Michael Di Casada all closing in on this battle. It's going to be a 5-car battle for the last step in the box.
And I think as that fight gets more and more spicy, the field will bunch up even more, I think. And Ryan Yardley will be thinking, I think Ryan Yardley now, he's 3.5 seconds behind the leader, Riley Dickinson. He's just going to think, okay, take the points for second place, get it home, and we'll go again tomorrow evening. This is a long season. You don't want to be throwing it away, trying to chase down. Dickinson's clearly got the pace here, but this is going to be a long season for sure. That Pro-Am battle is really intriguing, isn't it? Because Alan Metney's won the Pro-Am Championship twice. JP Martinez has barely driven this car before, and yet he is sitting in the lead of Pro-Am right now with Metney right behind him. So that's one we'll keep a watch on right now as the battle for the last spot on the podium rages on, but which is in the hands of Matthews Least after that amazing move into turn 1. Great stuff from the former IndyCar driver. Right,
so coming through onto the Ullman Straight now is JP Martinez in the ACI Motorsports car. That's the two-tone career with red stripe behind him, the all GT silver Kelly Moss Racing Alan Metney car, the number 99. And in front of them is a car that's not in that battle. That's Sabra Cook. She's just gone by those two. And she's being caught at the moment, actually. Sabra in the yellow and light blue car. Lovely colour scheme on that JTX machine. So now this could be danger time, actually, for Sabra Cook, with these two cars battling out for the front of their class.
Yeah, last lap, both Martinez and Metney were quicker than Sabra Cook, but they're on ultimate pace. Sabra Cook is a little bit quicker, so this is going to be intriguing now, because they are on the same racetrack, but effectively they're not in the same race because it's all about where you finish in your class. And now Martinez right behind Sabra Cook as they come through Gurney Bend, absolutely flat out. Martinez is on the headlight flasher. Sabra Cook goes to the defensive as they head down into turn 7, hitting the brakes hard from 145 miles an hour all the way down to 40 miles an hour.
This could be pretty spicy at the front of the field. Our race brew, Paul Sitter, has converted that into a 3.5 second lead. Kelly Moss Racing's Riley Dickinson well ahead of it. We're watching the battle intently for the Pro-Am lead. A big slide for the number 4, JP Martinez ACI. Is he using too much Yokohama tyre? Race Brew, Paul Sitter has cleared off into the distance. We've checked the times and he will be on pole position for tomorrow's race as well. So 2 Race Brew Pauls in the one session. That's how it works with a 30-minute single session, setting both of those times. Race Brew leading non-alcoholic beverage.
5 laps to go then for your leader Riley Dickinson for Kelly Moss Road and Race. Missed last year in this championship, our 2023 record-breaking champion with 11 wins out of 16 races, and well, it is history repeating itself at the moment for Riley Dickinson. He was invited to the Porsche Young Driver Shootout, where it's a very coveted prize. He just missed out on that, but well, with these performances, he'd be looking for another invitation.
Scott Blind in the number 45. That's another great colour scheme. Bright highlighter yellow and a super dark blue. It's a little bit of purpley colour on that, yeah. And he's the Masters leader, sitting in a very creditable 20th position for Ruckus Racing. And at the moment, he's trying to chase down, that's one of the GMG cars, isn't it? Yes, it is. In fact, he split them he split the two GMG cars. No, I tell a lie. Patrick Mulcahy's gone ahead of him. He had the two GMG cars behind him, didn't he? So Richard Edge is about 3.5 seconds behind him, but he's got James Sofranos as well to encounter before he gets towards the back of this car leading in Masters.
And Scott Blind is doing something. He's taking a leaf out of a lot of the Global One Super Cup drivers book, because he's pulling triple duty in 2025. He's doing Sprint Challenge, he's doing Endurance Challenge, and Carrera Cup North America, getting as much track time in this car as possible, and in the test went 1.5 seconds quicker than he'd ever been before at Sebring.
Crucially, they're all on Yokohama tyres.
That's so important.
That's the important part about that.
And the seat time.
Yeah.
Just seat time,
But
full
just getting
stop.
used to the car.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's hugely important. To be the best in a 992 GT3 Cup, it's all about seat time.
The Endurance Challenge will really help his tyre management as well, and that comes into this championship. We've stayed clean and green. Little trail of the brake through the first corner for Riley Dickinson. I'm not sure what song he's singing to himself at the moment, or humming or whistling or whatever, but that's about what he's doing. He's backed up his pace just a little bit. 205, 275 at the moment. His best was a 205.1, so actually he's only a tenth away from his fastest lap of the race, and he's got 16 laps on his Yokohama tyres. Ryan Yardley 205.4, 205.448 for Matthias Lees. That's his fastest lap of the race. 2 seconds further back. And third, 206s, 207s, 206, 205 from Yves Baltas in 8th position for ACI Motorsport. Just seeing who's got performance left here, Peter. Fastest lap of his race for Patrick Mulcahy as he tries to chase down Marco Civroni. And that would be 3rd place. That's 3rd place he's going after in Pro-Am there. So that's another car we're going to have to keep an eye on. What a return to the championship for Riley Dickinson here.
Quite remarkable. One thing that's peculiar is Michael McCann is dropped back down to 29th, and he's just set the best. I see what's going on. I think he's gone and put fresh tyres on.
That's exactly
because
what he's done.
Put in a 204.954, and he's going absolute best in Sector 1, absolute best in Sector 2. So he's given away the race result to put in the strongest qualifying time for tomorrow. Maybe thought the points are gone for this race. Let's try and get as far up the grid as we can in race 2. They've really been punished for working on that car during the red flag period in one of our free practice sessions a little bit earlier on in race week. So
that was qualifying.
You're right, of course it is, John. Yeah. Sorry, yes, it was qualifying. Yeah.
I'm just trying to see what the how close to pole is that?
Nowhere near.
Okay.
Absolutely nowhere near. The pole time was very, very strong. We saw almost record-breaking pole time, 201.689. So 204.777 is not going to necessarily going to cut it. That's going to put you sort of 11th, 12th row, but it's better than the back. Yep. And they're in a difficult situation. They're making the best of it.
Yeah, as you say, what they've done is to effectively give up the track position in any hope of points.
Yeah, he pitted 3 laps ago, so yeah, he's come in and put new tyres on to try and give it a go. But it's been a masterclass from Riley Dickinson. He has been put under pressure a lot by Ryan Yardley early on in the race until about the midpoint of the race, but he's just been relentless. Kelly Morse Road and Race, they think very highly of this young man. And this is not the only Kelly Moss car he'll be driving this year. He's going to be heavily involved with the team this year, and he is going to have 2 laps to go when they come to the stripe, and yet another victory in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. He was a little bit, I'm not going to say concerned, but it was an unknown coming into this year how he would perform on a different brand of tyre, on the Yokohama tyre. It was a different supplier when he won his championship 2 years ago. It just shows you his knowledge of the car, his pace, his ability is more than enough to carry him to an opening win on his account. Ryan Yardley right there in second, scoring strong points. And Matthias Lees, course, newcomer to the championship, former IndyCar driver. A podium for him to kick off the season. I think in general he'll be pretty chuffed with that if he can get through the next couple of laps clean.
Just working out if Riley is still eligible for the Porsche Junior Shootout.
Ebers Juniors, yes he is. Oh, by easily. Yes,
yeah.
yes, definitely. 22 years old for sure. So yeah,
he might get another crack at that.
Former three-time Sebring 12-hour winner Sasha Masson, who keeps a very close eye on the Porsche Juniors. I have no doubt he is watching this race right now.
Hello, Sasha.
Hello, Sasha. Uncle Sasha, as he is to the juniors, and looking after them all and picking the juniors that Porsche will support in future. I think he's got his eyes on this young man.
And Pat Long playing a part in Porsche Motorsport North America. There's quite a lot to take in for any junior driver going to the shootout from this championship, because you're losing your ABS and you're going to be on a different tyre. Now, when Porsche Carrera Cup swapped to Yokohama, what they did was they put some extra money in for testing on the tyre that the guys will be using in the Porsche Young Driver Shootout. Happens towards the end of the year, and it's never been won from somebody from a North American championship.
Yeah, and the process is beyond just pace and results. There's a lot more that goes into that shootout than just the actual pace on track. I'm sure that's the #1 priority, of course, but everything goes into it. And there's lots of very special drivers have gone to that championship and gone to that shootout and haven't been selected. So it's a very prestigious list.
It's not the end of your career if you don't do it. In fact, actually, it's just to make it is, it's the old adage of everybody who's got this far is already a winner.
Exactly.
It will be the white flag with 3 3/4 miles of the historic Sebring International Raceway to go. And thus far, there'll be 20 laps then. The previous 19 of them have been pretty much wheel perfect from Riley Dickinson in the Kelly Moss Racing. Absolutely phenomenal piece of driving again. And the battle for Pro-Am comes to their last lap, and there's still nothing between them.
Yeah, Alan Metney's actually got closer on that last lap. He took a couple of tenths out of JP Martinez. So Metney now very, very close in that battle for Pro-Am honour. Scott Blinn dominating in Masters by 7.5 seconds. That's the most dominant lead in any of the classes. But Riley Dickinson coming through past Green Park for the final time in this opening race of what will be a long season. There is a lot of racing to go on between now and the middle of October when we go to the Circuit of the Americas. We'll go to some of the greatest circuits all over North America. And Riley Dickinson, he knows them all well. And as do Kelly Moss, who swept all 3 championships last year in Pro-Am and Masters. Can they do the same again this year?
I take my hat off to Riley. I really do. This was a calculated gamble coming back into this championship. There's a risk. You've won the championship, you go away, you come back, the championship's changed in terms of its format, its tyre supplier. You've got a new bunch of hungry young drivers who want to come through and knock you off your perch, but it's Riley Dickinson and Kelly Moss Racing who take the first checkered flag of Porsche Carrera Cup North America for 2025. The battle for the Masters is on the back straight, on the Ullman straight for Pro-Am, excuse me, and it is still only just JP Martinez, Alan Metney in second place, but will he be in second after the final corner? He flings the car to the left. He's going to cut this back up the inside and try and roll it through the centre of turn 17. Martinez, I thought he would park it on the apex. He hasn't. There's an opportunity on the run the line here. Who gets the best run out of turn 17? It is Martinez who'll take it by 4 car lengths. From Alan Metney in second, it'll be Marco Cironi who holds on to third. Patrick Mulcahy was charging towards the end but won't get back to him. And Scott Blind with that dominant run for Ruckus Racing in the Masters. Well, that was some racing. That was some racing. Just to square away unofficially, it is Ryan Yardley from New Zealand and Top Racing in second position, 5.6 seconds behind our winner. And then another 7 seconds further back, Jimmy Liebler pulled away from Michael Di Casada. Good run for Michael Di Casada in Allegra Motorsport, up to 4th, ahead of Aaron Johnson in 5th. Then Vanier least down in 9th position with a 2:16 last lap, and I think he might have been struggling for fuel. He stopped that car at the end of the front straight, just at pit out. He may have been coughing and spluttering. We'll get the word from the team and talk about that tomorrow. So least for Nola Sport dropping down at 2:16, so what, he lost 11 seconds on that last lap. That is disastrous. That is a hatful of points that he has lost. Right, take a breath. Remember, we'll do this all tomorrow. Dickinson, Yardley and Liebler, as we said, will be on the first podium of the season. Michael Di Casada, what a run for the Allegra Motorsports car. And he comes up to 4th. Johnson, Vanier, Baltas, Maxon, least with that. 11 seconds lost on the final lap, stopped at the end, ahead of 10th place. Jared Thomas. I expected Jared would have been further up than that, and I bet he does as well. Bakus Tolke had a great battle. Ashley Freiberg comes up to 13th ahead of Sebra Cook. Sabra still ahead of Martinez and Alan Metney at the end, who were separated by less than half a second. Jean Jodouin in between them, and 3rd place in the Pro-Am, Marco Cironi with Mulcahy behind him. And in the Masters, well, already gone past the leader because Scott Blind was in 20th position, and we have to go down to 22nd for Richard Edge, who was well ahead of Peter Atwater, Rob Walker, Todd Parriott, Carl Washington and Michael Oremi. Remember, he was spun around and dropped down from 4th down to 7th position. Phew E. Fastest lap of the race, by the way, was Alan Metney in Pro-Am. In Masters, it was Scott Blind, and of course it was Michael McCann who got the fastest lap, coming in for a new set of Yokohama tyres, and he made the best of that to put in a 2:04.777. That'll help his starting position after he lost all of his qualifying. But what an opening round, what an opening stanza so far. He has been there or thereabouts, topped the first session, qualified in pole position, and took the first ever of our new pole position awards.
Yeah, Race
for
Brew,
Riley Dickinson, Race Brew, yeah. Pole position awards.
He can be able to, he's an athlete, he can be able to enjoy just a small Race Brew to celebrate tonight.
Absolutely
no
correct.
Alcohol, of course.
Peter Mackay was alongside me, John Hindorf. What a start to the race, as Riley Dickinson was never headed from the Race Brew pole. It was 2 and 3 wide behind him at certain times, but he didn't care. Great battle between Jared Thomas and about 5 or 6 people, it seemed, at one time. Tyler Maxon coming up through the fields. Ultimately, it was Riley Dickinson who wins in Pro, Martinez in Pro-Am, and Scott Blind in Masters. Join us tomorrow for more.